Testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's check. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. I'm checking my YouTube to make sure that I am live and that I have sound. Let's make sure. Good morning, everyone. Yay! Woo woo! Okay, cool. So let's share. Copy link. We're going to go to Facebookies, and then I'm going to begin. All right. Post, paste. Oh boy, come on. There we go. Share. Share. Good morning. I hope everyone had a happy Mother's Day. Last weekend, it is May 15th, 2022. And what a crazy weekend this was, astrologically and space weather wise. We were in a Mercury retrograde, as well as we had a lunar eclipse. And we've seen a lot of action on Sun, as well as on Schumann resonance for the Earth. So fun times. So things are a little kooky wooky, and you'll see that manifested in us as well. And so, we have to try and keep our zen for sure. Let me make sure I got this going on. We're going to pull up the verse that we were in last week. And I'm going to continue. I wanted to continue that night. I got home late and I was tired. And you know how the week is with kids and other stuff. So, it is what it is. But I'm here now. And welcome. So, let's pull up what the verses we were in last week. We were in Mark 5, and we were talking about. Actually, I want to kind of. I don't know if I want to bring the whiteboard over because I kind of wanted to draw. Yeah, I'm gonna draw it. Let's do it. Why not? Dun, da, da, da. Cool. All right, let me get a Where's my expos? My daughter steals them. All right, I have one. Hopefully it works. All right. I'm not gonna discuss what's above here, but I'm not gonna erase it. And you can read it or not read it, but it's there for future generations. Anyway, so we talked about our trinities, right? So we've got mind, spirit, body. Okay. So Father, Mother, balance, existence, and then we have masculine, feminine. So that's back behind my board. So that's a binary, trinity, and then you have your box, and then we get into ancient geometry. But everything's macro, micro through the dimensions. So when we do like spirit and mind, this also goes into the Kabbalah, which is like ancient mystic Judaism, but more metaphysical, so very much structure. So Kabbalah is the tree of life, but it's very much so geometrical, right? So that's their tree of life. And then you have a literal tree of life, which Jesus talks about, the vine and the branches, and then you have roots going into the ground. So as much as you ascend, you need to descend, because you have to be in balance. So you have to be rooted, right, into Mother Earth, extend up to the mind. You see how it all is the same thing, but just a different representation. Okay, so let's get into Mark. So we were showing stream. I'm gonna take my gum out too, sorry. So if you didn't believe I was Puerto Rican before, check all my curly hair out. So this is my hair naturally. And normally I put keratin in it, so it's straight and I don't have to deal with it. I used to wear my hair curly a lot when I was younger, and I had time so that it didn't look like a lion's mane. But I don't have time, so I'm due a keratin treatment. But this is that's my natural hair. So anyways, so that's not what I wanted to do. That's not it. Sorry. Wrong thing. Where is Mark? Did I pull up to the same thing? Hold on. Hide. Oh, here it is. This one. Show and stream. Yikes. Sorry. Okay, so we're in Mark 5, and we were in 30. We're talking about harmony, universe, one song. And then we got into God's works on you, eternity, eternal life until you reach your own power. Okay, and then great resignation. The system must go down. Woo! We are not here for money to survive. We're here to live, which means to create an experience. Wow. Woo! What a great place to start. So this is my note. So I put start here. That was when my kids came and knocked on the door, so I stopped the feed. So this is literally where I'm starting, and what a great place to start. Thank you for that. So so it says the system must go, and so that is because we talked about how Jesus was a rebel, and maybe I can get in here. Yeah, I can. Okay. So Jesus was a rebel. The political system wanted him to go, the Romans, and the Jews wanted him to go, the high priests and the rabbis, because he was going against the laws of the Old Testament, because the New Testament hadn't existed yet. It was going on at that time. Woo-hoo. And right now we've got the Third Testament going on at this time. So this point in existence in the universe is fun times, y'all. And you can participate if you want, or you can sit back and watch, but it's gonna be cool. So start here. The system must go. So Jesus very much taught with questions. What do you think? How do you feel? Here's a story. What do you think? And so he wanted people to come to their own understanding of the situation, kind of what does their gut tell them, and then that's probably the right thing to do. And whether it went against religious code, right? And then you go into, the helping the Samaritan those cultures weren't allowed to talk to each other because the other one looked at the other one as dirty or unclean or un whatever, not favored in God's eyes. And so Jesus kind of said, the hell with those artificial boundaries. Just do what you feel is right. This is literally how he taught. And well, how do you know what's right? That they would ask. Well, how do you know what the And he would say, well, and he would teach them how to become in touch with their souls, with their conscience, we know that the word conscience was used, which conscientiousness is the definition of reglago, which reglago is religion. So they're one and the same. It's just religion is really about ethics, morals, and values. That's it. And then each religion is just to divide what each group deems is important, which is different for everyone because we're all created unique. And so this is where people talk about religion divides and this, that, and the other, and in essence that's true. Religion does divide, and so we have to come to what the truth is, and Jesus Christ for sure is a part of that truth. But it is not the final truth, and he made sure to tell us that before he died on the cross. So to think otherwise would be to call him a liar. So I'm not down for calling Jesus a liar, because he's not, and the Christ is back and in action. So the system must go. If not, the system is going to destroy us, and that's where you get into verses like Hosea and my people will be destroyed for lack of knowledge. And so we have to have a sound mind as well. We can't just have only a heart of love. We have to have a sound mind. It has to be both. And that's where Christians went off in left field, is that they don't want to use any reason or logic or intelligence. They just want to use their heart. Now, love endures all things, encompasses all things. It is all things. So love doesn't mean helping others or loving others, that's a fraction of what it is, because love is everything. Love is existence. Okay, love is yin and yang. Love is dark and light. Love is everything in order for us to have existence. We can't have existence without one thing. We have to have the other. That's polarity. Everything has a set of opposites. This is laws of the universe. This is physics. This is also hermeticism. This is philosophy as much as it is science, as much as it is the dogma in religion. It's all the same. And as soon as we figure out that what you put out, you get back, watch how fast people take responsibility for their own behavior, and they know that what comes around goes around. And if you want someone to think for you, then someone's going to think for you, and that's going to come back to bite you in the butt. So we're not here to make money to survive. We're here to live and live. Let's do this. Is a fun one, and I have this on my wall down here. It says, I don't know if you can see it. Oh yeah, live, and then evil. So it's actually a mirror image of each other. If you flip it, so it's like quite literally the opposite. Is if you're not living, then what you're doing is evil. You're doing the opposite of living, which is survive. And as soon as you feel like you're in survival, which is very primal, that is an instinct that the elite have been able to use against the 99% of the population against itself, to tap into that primal survival mode, forgetting that we are eternal beings and that death is an illusion, because the body from dust to dust, but our spirit is what is eternal. And then that spirit has yikes, man, that truth, they don't want it out. I'll tell you that. Um, anyway, yeah, immortality. Oh, look, so I have something up that that's not even what I want. Hide. All right, hold on. Let's get into some Bible here. Just want to make sure I have the right thing here. Show and stream. All right, so we talked about two stories here. I think we started at 30, and Jesus immediately knowing in himself that the power had gone from him. So we talked about that he felt the power leave, that someone had used it without his authority, literally, and turned around in the crowd and said, "Who touched me?" And the disciples were like, "What are you talking about, bro? You're walking through a path. And there's hundreds of people who are trying to touch you. But somebody touched him different, obviously. And so he said he looked to see who had done the thing, and it was the woman, and then he told her the whole truth. So he had the thought, she had the thought that all I have to do is touch him, it will happen. And so her faith, her believing that strongly that if I just touch him, I'll be healed. And she knew she was healed immediately. So she told him the truth. I believed it, and it happened. I touched you, and now I'm healed. Thank you. And he says, don't worry. Your faith is go in peace. Okay. Story number one. Then he goes to the synagogue. Oops, hold on. Let me get Mark up here. Then he goes to don't be afraid. So then he says he came to the ruler of the synagogue, who's a volunteer, life group leader, let's say, and he came in and said that she was not dead, but she was asleep. And so I go into a lot of dead, alive, and sleep and awake, and the differences between them, the references and understanding. One is more spiritually speaking, and the other one is more metaphysically speaking. But in theory, they mean the same thing from a duality or polarity standpoint. Um, so he took the father and the mother of the child who's with him, and then he said, "Girl, you will rise." And immediately, girl, she got up and walked, and she was 12 years old. And so 12. I actually made a post either this morning or yesterday with some numbers 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I put 11, but so 12. You would understand that you are co-creator. You understand all 12 aspects and under 12, 11, 10. You have to understand all the numbers of those aspects of the metaphysical aspects of the spirit, of the mind of God as well, and how and coming to your Merkaba, which is the perfect geometrical alignment, that the energy moves so fast that it's a sphere. And this is why you see a sphere. We all see things as a sphere because that's the way that our eye works, but in reality, anyway. So that's why you see the spheres above those enlightened people in the past and across all religions, including Jesus Christ and Krishna and Buddha. You always see that globe above their head. That's that representation, that solar, Pastor Stephen, representation of the divine. Okay, so you go through those numbers. Pastor Stephen has a book called 7 Mile Walk. And that is like a secret society thing that he put out to know that the religious community that he reached, whatever, of this understanding, right? So now what he doesn't understand is 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, but that's okay. Anyway, so moving on. So what happens is this girl comes up 12. We went into 12 last week. If you want to go back, watch that. And then he said, but he commanded them strictly that no one should know it, and said something that should be given to the girl to eat. So they didn't want him to tell anyone, and give her food because she's probably hungry. So he went into the challenge flag and getting a second look to get it right. And I feel that's very pertinent to this time, not just at a micro, my life, ego, me standpoint, but at this macro humanity, global understanding of how do we move forward. Let's take a second look and make this right, because there's a lot of things depending on it going right. Let's put it that way. And that is at a macro level you wouldn't believe. So let's get it right. Take a second look. Challenge flag. Love it. Another perspective. We need another perspective. Yes. We need another perspective, and it's not your perspective. You have to step aside. Please let your ego go down. You're not letting the ref throw the challenge flag, because Stephen Furtick is the commissioner of the league or whatever. And I don't mean you just specifically. I just mean the idea of you and others. We need another perspective. The end. So he said he's not dead. He's just asleep. And that's what I said here. I said, there is no such thing as dead. There is no such thing as the end. The end is just the beginning. And so this is where that figure 8 comes, where you think you're at the end, but you're just, it's eternity. That is what eternity is that everything just loops and loops, and it actually goes more in a swirl, in your Fibonacci, sequence, right? This swirling that is the universe at a micro level and at a subatomic level. And so the we're this type of society that doesn't work for 99% of us, and that will be able to bring peace and harmony to the planet, and freedom of religion, and freedom of expression, and freedom of creativity, and having respect for others, and not taking the life of another being, and that includes animals, unless it's in self-defense. And there really just needs to be a few basic set of moral and ethical code, along with a trust in one currency, and we should be able to govern ourselves, and that's what America is. That's what we the people are, is we need to govern ourselves. And if we're not governing ourselves the way we want to be governed, then who's going to change it? Right? No, you're not going to change it. So we the people have to change it. So it's time that we change it. And Lord have mercy. That's all I had. So I said start here. That's all I had from last time. So let's go through some memes. So let's get this off. We'll go through some memes. All right. So show and stream. All right. Balance every thought with its opposition, because the marriage of them is the destruction of the illusion. And that is a similar time of many great philosophical and scientific thinkers that understood existence. And so this is the Temple of Solomon. And you have the masculine energy, solar yang, feminine, lunar. So this is all the stuff that you're going to see, back in here. Let me move this now. So this is there's your yin and yang symbol here, and then you've got your as above, so below, and so your circles, square, and triangle, and then this is your veil, your quantum consciousness veil, the other side of the veil. Here's your binary, and so everything is there, and so every organ of the physical body is reproduced in the brain, where it can be traced by the law of analogy. There are two embryonic human forms, one male and the other one female, twisted together in the brain. Dragons biting each other. One of these figures has an organ of expression of the pineal gland, and the other is the pituitary body. These two ductless glands are well worth consideration, for they are very important factors in unfolding of human consciousness, mainly Manly P. Hall. So I always tell you about Manly P. Hall. I've got a couple of his books. Mostly the one that's going to be pertaining to this is the pineal gland, the eye of God. And this is also in ancient Egyptian understanding of consciousness as a collective energy of everything. So this is this picture in the center is a Freemason picture. And so Freemasonry is not evil or good. It just is the truth, really, at the end of the day. It's understanding both sides of the veil and coming into harmony, both in the mind and spirit. And so that's that. And so they use symbols because symbols Yikes, y'all. Shut me down again. All right, my bad. So, I don't even know where I was. Oh, interesting. Hold on. Hide. All right, so anyway, I don't even know where I was. It knocked me off. Where was I talking about? Let me think for a second. I don't remember. Manly people, signs and symbols. Oh, the swastika. Thank you. So, the swastika is actually the Big Dipper in the 4 seasons and the 4 equinoxes. When you put them together, they make the swastika. So that's why I actually have a picture of all the swastikas that's been found across the world in different cultures, and you know, and their different representation of what is the swastika a little bit different in each one. So because it's paying homage to the stars, because the star people came down from the sky, and then this is in their lineage, this is in their stories, this is in their text, the same way it's in the text in the Bible of star people coming down, right, and angels and ships and lights and lightning and all this stuff that they couldn't express with the terminology that we use today, the same way that the Native Americans and the Aztecs and the Incas and all of these other cultures had similar experiences, that they just told their story a little different based on their culture and understanding of existence. But really the themes are the same across the board. The stories are the same across the board because there's only one truth. And it's just a different truth from a different perspective. And once we realize that all of those perspectives are correct within their cultures, then we can come to what the universal truth is. And man, ain't it fun when you have the truth? Woo! I mean, when you got truth, what else do you need, right? Now, with that said, let's do this one. So I'm going to turn this one off. So speaking of other cultures and understanding their spirituality, because really at the end of the day, it's all spirituality, right? Is the whole, the circle, the totality and the singularity, right? The alpha and the omega point. I got you. So if spirituality is a circle, right, then everyone experienced the spirit different, because it's really just this one Holy Spirit, or one great spirit, as the natives would have said, that is experiencing itself, that we're all connected, we're all really each other, from a spirituality sense. And so when you go into the Mayas and the Aztecs and the Incas and the Hittites, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Egyptians, when you go into all of these cultures, you realize it's all saying the same thing, all of them. And it's just at a different moment in time. And I can't even say in history, it is his story, right? Because of the mind. But she is the stuff, right? And so you know, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And that's where they both have to happen at the same time for that explosion of love to create anything at all. Big Bang, same thing, different perspective. Now, history is there for you, isn't there for you to like or dislike. It is there to you to learn from. And if it offends you, even better, because then you are less likely to repeat it. It's not yours to erase. It belongs to all of us. And so we have on record in Congress people in the education department telling us that we have picked one timeline that is optimal to teach our children, because there's so much contradictory stories and evidence that conflict each other. We're going to pick the best timeline to teach them as to what we think happened. not giving them all of the information to decide for themselves. That is on the record in Congress. Okay, so when Michael Jackson hit the stand in the 90s and was talking about how all the history books are a lie and that what they're teaching you in school is a lie, and everyone thought he was nuts, actually he was way far ahead of the gang, and he knew the truth, and that is the truth, is that it's the art of war. So anyway, so we have to look at these cultures, these civilizations that lived, 50,000 years ago, not 6,000, because the planet is not 6,000 years old. The planet is trillions of years old. It's gone through millions of years of evolution of humanity, as well as all of these other species. And so, we're at this moment where, we really have to decide whether we want to destruct or whether we want to come together. And, here we are. So let's hide that one. What else we're going to go to? So I talk about the art of war. Let's look at this one. I don't watch the news either, Pastor Stephen. So me and you are on the same team. However, I still see people who are so distracted by nonsense that they waste their energy on nonsense, and not even nonsense that's real. It's fake nonsense in order to keep your frequency at a low vibration, to keep you in anger, in frustration, in all of these lower vibrational energies. And they're doing it on purpose because they know this is the time that you need to focus your mind and your heart on the truth. And then we can go to unity. We can't have unity if we have lies. It will never happen. So we have to have the truth first. And the truth is that Hollywood knows the truth, and they don't want the rest of humanity to learn it. And that represents the hive mind, that if we're all thinking about something else, that is what's going to manifest, because the spirit world happens first, and then the physical world. That is quantum physics. That also is spirituality. This is spirit science. This is quantum Christianity. That's what it is. The bee represents the hive mind, meaning that they are all groomed to protect the hive. And this is the elite. So this is like what George Carlton, he's a comedian. He talks about this all the time. Like, they're in an elite club and you're not invited. And they understand how reality works from a magical level. And they know that they can do whatever they want if you're not thinking about the things that matter. And so they protect the hive. They tell us in many ways. Their symbolism will be their downfall. That's a Q thing. Bread and circus. It's like if you feed them and entertain them, then they're never going to care. All the rest of it doesn't matter. They are both Satan actors, creatures of the abyss. These people idol and worship you're either with God or you're against God. So I don't know what their intentions are. Their intentions might be something similar to the movie The Giver, where they don't trust most of humanity to know these secrets because it would cause destruction on the planet. Is humanity ready to have a second chance? And that might be the case, but that might also not be the case. It might just be about power and greed. And so that's where I get into these big pastors like Pastor Stephen. And does he know the truth? And he's just hiding it because he doesn't think that humanity can handle it. I don't know how much he knows from a mystical standpoint or a quantum manifestation standpoint, but certainly these people do. That is ancient Kabbalism. And I don't know. Anyway, so wake up, America. This is all a joke. All of it. In your face. Ha ha. Trust me. They're all ha-haing at home. I already did this one. Let's see another one. Let's do this one first. Show and stream. So this is having to do with this series, obviously. So Jesus said that we need to become like children to enter the kingdom of heaven. What Jesus meant was that in order to live in peace and harmony within ourselves, in order to bring heaven to earth, heaven's state of consciousness, we have to live like children, innocent, right? And unknowing, right? No one knowing the truth. Or no one having immortality, everyone being immortal, or everyone being an immortal. There's one of the two is going to be paradise, in theory. To earth we have to heaven to earth we have to live like children, innocent. The kingdom of heaven is a state of mind. To be of sound mind, the Bible says, faith and facts, wake up church, we are one spirit. That's the circle. But we also have to go through experimenting and implementing and going through the process of expression and integration, and then transcendence of letting go of what no longer serves and moving higher into a greater light or evolution. It's the same thing, different end of the coin. Unlock the mystery. It's always both, never one or the other. Children are most spiritually connected humans on earth. It's also said that they remember some of their past lives. In Virginia University, they have a consciousness department that specifically studies near-death experiences, as well as children who have memories of past lives, and they look into them and they're able to verify these details with crazy accuracy. And so it's said that once a child reaches past 8 or 9 years old, they've already been programmed into the matrix or the system of how to be in order, and their spirit, their individuality gets taken away, and it's lost in the subconscious. So they don't need to read or know any knowledge that we speak of, because it's irrelevant. It all circles back to self, intuition, creation, and imagination, letting go of fear, lack, doubt, and all other illusions. Yes, now the Bible will talk about this the exact same way, that will be for it. And there's also in the Bible, and probably more so in the Old Testament, where it's going to tell you that this is that imagination is the devil. And so you have to understand, this is where how do you understand God? How do you unlock the mystery of understanding God? And that's how you do it, is you have to accept both. You have to connect both. And that's where you reach the throne room. That's where your midline is activated. Your hemispheres are connected. Your heart and mind gets connected next. And then you continue to elevate your consciousness, expand your consciousness out to be able to think of what the next universe or the expansion of this universe is going to look like. And this is why you see the expansion of the universe right now, is because people are opening their levels of consciousness, and what happens macro happens micro, because everything that's in is as above, so below, as the inner, so the outer. Time is not linear. Everything's in and out. I talk about that in my book. Remove. Show and stream. Spirit is drawing the earth into a higher frequency, awaken the soul in all. So you'll hear people talking about, how we've lived in this duality, 3D dimension. We're moving into the 5th dimension, which is understanding unity, that we're all connected. And so, but we had to be connected in truth and in fairness, not with power and control and greed. And so we're working it out, and before the once everything has to go burn to the ground before the phoenix can rise. And so we see that happening And but the lights at the end of the tunnel, trust me, we're going to get through it. I promise. So I liked that one. Just going to get through 2 more and then we'll call it a day. Show and stream. So this one says crumbs. Following the crumbs to mysticism. This is one is as clear as Paul can make it. There is more to Christianity than what is presented on the surface. And so this is Paul talks about this as well as Jesus, when he says that, you know, there will be a time when that will be revealed to you. And, you know, the disciples say when, and Jesus says, you know, look to the sky when the man's pouring out the water, you know, that'll be the time when you know, and so you leave the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius, Pisces being the 2 fishers of men. And so I have fed you with milk and not with meat, for till now you are not able to bear it, neither yet now are you able. So mentally they were not able, and maybe within their spirit or their heart they were not able. But there would come a time where they would receive the truth, and so the time is now, right? We know that we're in this time where the same representation of Christ returning to earth is the soul of God awakening the people, their consciousness to understanding that we are God, really, you know, fractalized among reality and experiencing ourselves. And we have to go through these cycles to have anything. And yeah. I got going on. So I like this. And I said this last time, like, you know, Pastor Stephen's got the milk and I got the meat, and then you can also look at it from the flip side of the coin, depending on where you're coming from, depending on what your experience has been or what your experience is that you remember. So yeah, anyways, I found that interesting. So that's that one. And then let's do one more and then we'll call it a day. All right, God is not something outside of us. If there's one creator who created everything, then the creator is everything and everything is the creator. The creator created us, so we are the creator. This sounds like a version of a cosmic Bible of John 1 through 4. So in the beginning was the Word was God, the Word was with God, everything was blah, 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 blah. And it goes around and around and around because it's all the same. And so once you keep looking at what comes first, the chicken or the egg, you're never going to come to the answer because it's always going to swirl back to the other one, because there has to be both for there to be existence. And in order for there to be existence, there has to be motion, because energy cannot be destroyed, and everything that is motion stays in motion. And we talk about things in motion out in the universe and how if there's nothing to stop them, then they're not going to stop. They're just going to keep going. And so this happens at a cellular, a subatomic level, as well as out in the macro of astrophysics. So once we understand this concept of everything is about balance, and you know, or not. I mean, obviously you can choose to live like a yo-yo, but you know, do you want to? And so, you know, well, it'll all work itself out at every level. So that's my show, folks. Man, Christ is in you, right? He said, brothers and sisters, because we're all just one piece of spirit and matter and antimatter and whatever in this galactic universe. Like, life is not that serious, but we have to, you know, in order to for everyone to live in rainbows and butterflies, all the rest of this has got to go. It's not going to happen. So it can take 3 years. It could take 30 years. It could take 300 years, but it's going to be up to us. So change the culture, change reality. Here we go. Remove.